And good morning, everybody. It's Dan Latto speaking. Hope you're well today. So, in today's podcast, let's talk about living in Spain, shall we? We've just cut off another phone call to come live, so I'm a little bit... where am I? Anyway, let's talk about living in Spain, shall we? So we've been living in Spain for about 8 years now. And it's pretty much not what you think. And when I say that, you're like, oh, what does it mean? And it's not what you think is not what I think, if that makes sense, which it doesn't. But let's run through these 4 different points, because this is one of the questions that we get asked quite often is, what's it like living in Spain, and so on and so forth. So, and what do I mean by it's not what you think? So people think you're coming here to be on holiday, and you live on holiday, and that's pretty much all you're doing. And... that's not accurate at all. We come here and we work actually quite hard. But one of the good bits is, for example, is that our beach is like 10 minutes, not 10 minutes, about 100 metres down there, and I'm pointing at it as well, you can see it. It's about 100 metres just down the road. So literally, if today was really hot and sunny, which it's not, it's quite cold, it's 3rd of February, it's still cold in Spain, but it's just warmer than the UK. If we were to walk 100 metres, we could go to the beach, and you don't have to pack loads of things up. You can just pick up and you can go. And that is a real benefit. And literally, you can go to the beach and pretend you're on holiday, and then you can come back, and then you're back into work, you're back into your normal lifestyle and that kind of thing. So that's really cool. So that works very well for us. The other aspect of living in Spain is running a business here. And so this has actually caused quite a few difficulties or obstacles to overcome, because actually running a business from Spain is really difficult, because you don't get to meet anybody. You don't get to go face to face unless your clients are in Spain, which ours aren't. You've got to find different ways of doing it. And boy, we've covered this a lot in the podcast about what are the different things that we actually have to do to implement to even get seen. And obviously there's a lot of content, there's social media, there's images, there's graphics, there's video, there's copywritten text, and so on. There's memes, there's jokes, but you are distant from your clients. And so if you're running a business here in Spain and you have to speak to clients, you're going to either have to find a way of doing it like we do and running all these lives, or you're going to have to get on a plane and go back. And that can be really difficult. Let's talk about getting on a plane and getting back. I mean, that is it's a 10-hour journey. And people are like, well, what do you mean? Well, Alicante's 2.5 hours. So you've got to drive 2.5 hours to get to the airport. Then you're waiting maybe 2 hours at the airport, so that's 4.5. Then you get on a plane, that's 2.5 hours, so that's 5, that's 7 hours. Then you get to Manchester Airport, and you're waiting half an hour for a train, that's that 7.5 hours. Then a train takes an hour and a half, and then you're into a hotel. And so that's a 9-hour trip. So it's literally, it takes all day. It's longer than a day's work. It's travelling from Spain to England. Yeah, you're only 2.5 hours away. But the reality is you're actually quite further than that from a time perspective. So in terms of running a business, getting on a plane is actually quite hard because of the amount of time that it takes. And boy, we would love to have a private jet. But we've done the calculation. A one-way trip on a private jet, you're probably talking about $9,000. And I think that was just fuel alone. So it's just not worth doing from that point of view. So if you're going to come and live in Spain, you're either going to have a business that works really well online. And of course, it's 2022. Everybody's been online. Everyone's been in lockdown. So there's plenty of businesses out there that do it. But one of the reasons why we own a digital marketing agency is because we can run that from anywhere on the planet. I could be sat in Bali and running a successful digital marketing agency. Heck, I could be on planet Mars and that would still do exactly the same thing. So that works fine from that point of view, but you need to have a business, or you need to find a way of moving yourself over to working an online kind of business. By the way, I should add, this is going to be a really short podcast. We're so rammed today. We've just taken on a whole bunch of clients, which all need onboarding, and so we're very much focused on that. But I wanted to do this podcast because I wanted people to think that living in Spain was this idea of you go out to beach bars every night, you're on the beach every day, and you're living this amazing lifestyle. And don't get me wrong, the lifestyle can be amazing. But I spend most of my time sat at this desk or working in summer on the table and chairs outside, which is really nice. It's really hot, t-shirt and shorts. You can go for a dip in the pool. The lifestyle is phenomenal if you buy into it. But you have to also remember you're not here on holiday. I don't think you can live on holiday, and I don't want to live on holiday. I like the dichotomy of being on holiday and being in work. But just because I live in Spain and I work in Spain doesn't mean I'm on holiday living in Spain, if that makes sense. You're not on holiday, you're here to live, and it's just like living in Leeds. It's exactly the same, except it's a heck of a lot warmer. There's a lot more outdoory type stuff that you can do. And then, if you want to go swim in the sea and it's July, you don't even need to get changed. Like, you got your swim shorts on, and in summer I live in swim shorts and a t-shirt and flip-flops, right? So I walk down to the beach, 100 metres, t-shirt off, straight into the sea, leave my keys on the beach. Nothing ever gets stolen because we live in a very nice place and just nothing ever happens, which is really cool. And then you get out, t-shirt back on. By the time you've walked back home, you dry again, t-shirt off, jump in the pool to get all the salt off. The pool is warmer than the sea, which is even better. And then that's it. And then you're back at your desk, 5 minutes for drying, and you're back at your desk off to do a bit more work. It's amazing. That's the lifestyle that we really moved over for. My wife was a school teacher, still is, in fact, works at the school a private school where my daughter goes to. And when she used to come home from school in the UK with a mountain of paperwork, I mean, it was just a nightmare. It was just, she'd work all night and get up the next day, drive an hour to school, come home, work all night again. It was just a nightmare. Now, 10 minutes away, she comes home, jumps in the pool, goes to the beach. Like, the lifestyle is totally different. Last bonfire night, or the one before actually, I think it might have been the one before that, in fact, 2 years ago, we had a bonfire on the beach. It's really cool. Not the actual bonfire, we just had fireworks, but people came, we had some beer, sat on the beach on bonfire night. Imagine doing that in the UK. You'd freeze your bits off, wouldn't you? And it was so cool. That's why we came here. The lifestyle is vastly different. And you're not coming here to live. And I think people kind of get this confusing that that's actually what's happening. Next one then, and final one, is the cost of living. Honestly, the cost of living is so cheap here. The villa that we're in, we actually rent here. We've got enough properties in the UK. And I'm like, I don't really want to buy property here in Spain. I don't understand it. Lucia, my daughter's 7. She's here for another 11 years. We're only buying for 11 years, and then we're probably going to go travel the world, and we'll have homes in different places where we'll stay for 6 months. That's the kind of plan. Why do we need to buy a place in a fixed location? And so the transition from traditionally buying your house, which is the dream of that everybody has, we're moving further from that because financially our situation is different, and as we move forward through time, it's increasingly becoming different as well. We don't need to we don't need to buy a place and have a fixed abode because we've got plenty of properties in the UK that going up in value and provide income and so on. So here we rent, we pay €1,000, we get a 4-bed villa with a swimming pool 100 metres from the beach. €1,000. One of my one of my DSS properties in Leeds pays £900. £900 is the equivalent of £1,000. So my £105,000 house that I bought, going back 15 years, worth maybe £150 now, that actually pays for our villa here. And so that's why you should be having property. That's why you should be buying these assets, so that the assets pay for your lifestyle. But the cost of living is so much lower. We shop at Lidl, by the way, and when we talk about social class, the UK has this massive thing about social class and about where you shop and where you spend your money and all of that kind of thing. And it's such a big, big difference. If you go to Lidl, you must be poor. We go to Sainsbury's, don't you know? And it's a bit snobberish for me. Whereas here in Spain, no one really gives a damn. Everybody goes to Lidl. Lidl, actually, quality of food is better than Carrefour. Consum we have, and we've got a Mercadona here as well, but we choose pretty much Lidl over that all the time. We're talking €50 or €60 a week for food for family of 3, I mean, the cost of living is so much cheaper. Petrol is so much cheaper. There's no council tax. Electricity seems cheaper, certainly now compared with the UK. The cost of living is vastly different. Second-hand cars are really expensive. Brand new cars are much cheaper. You can pick up a like a Vauxhall Corsa. Not that you'd buy a Corsa here, but you can buy a French Renault car for like €9,500 brand new. Like, Renault Clio, that's the car. For like €9,500 brand new, which is what, about $8,000? Like brand new. So it's just vastly different. The cost of living is so much more, which means that you need to earn less money to live here. So if you're thinking about moving to Spain, or you're thinking about moving anywhere, let's face it, pandemic's made everybody kind of double think what they want to do about where we're going to live in the next 5 years. I made some notes actually. My one regret was what I wish I knew earlier or before I came here. Cost of living, we've done that. Social networks, if you have not got a social network in place, you're going to struggle, and that will cause you some problems. Without a support group, we gave birth here in Spain, very little Spanish. We had a friend who was with us who speaks fluent Spanish. Thank goodness. You need that support network. I know people have gone out and tried to do it. No support networks, failed dreadfully. Difficulty in getting home, nine and a half hours just to get home. I know it's a 2.5 hour flight, but it never really computes. Let's talk about NHS comparison. The NHS comparison is vastly different. Like, the NHS here is much better. And I know the NHS people absolutely detest me saying things like that. We've been to A&E, and from locking the car, going in, and getting back to the car, 43 minutes. I timed it. You try doing that in Leeds St James's A&E, 4 hours minimum. I'm sure it's pretty much worse than that because of the pandemic. It's like 6 hours. But even now, we've had people go to A&E and they're in and out within an hour. It's like so much different. We've got a local urgencia, it's called, urgencies, urgencia, where we are, and you're literally straight in there. Or if you go to the main hospital, again, you're pretty much straight in. There's always doctors who speak English, thank goodness, because our English is really bad. I've actually got private health insurance as a necessity because I needed to have private health insurance here. And so just the NHS difference is massive. I don't know about waiting lists for cancer treatments and that kind of thing because we've never actually had to face any of that. But if I broke my arm and I had a choice between a UK NHS and a Spanish NHS, I'd choose a Spanish one every time. If I had to travel 2.5 hours on the roads, I would choose to travel that in Spain than in the UK anytime. For 2.5 hours to Alicante, I probably see 400 cars. The 10 minutes that I land in Manchester and I'm trying to drive back from Manchester to Leeds, in the first 10 minutes is 300 cars because you're stuck in traffic. The differences are significant. And so as long as you can deal with running the business and coping with the lifestyle and building a network and appreciate that you're not here on holiday and you're here to work, you do really, really well. If you're coming for a long jolly for the next 10 years, I think that's where you struggle. Unless you're retiring and that's what you want to do. But if you're retiring, what the hell are you going to do? You can get British TV, but you have to use a VPN to get the BBC and that kind of thing. And even then, our VPN sometimes doesn't work. We're halfway through Line of Duty and then it stopped working. And so you have that to kind of overcome. Not that we watch BBC anyway, quite frankly, because we'd rather Netflix it and Amazon it. But these are the things that you have to put in place. If you're thinking about doing it, don't think anymore. Just go and do it. It's just life-changing. It is truly one of the best decisions that we've ever made. And every summer, winter gets a little bit cold, but every summer, from April onwards, all the way through to October, we've been in the sea in October, wave jumping. And it's truly, truly transformational. Anyway, hope that's useful. Nice quick one there today. I've got to go on another call. We'll speak to you soon. My name's Dan Latto. Have yourselves a great day. Take care.